Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to an unboxing for the brand new game, Disney Lorcana. This is a trading card game, so it's not like lots of the board games I do where you can just go and buy it and play it. Obviously, these are starter decks, you can just buy these and play these, but this is the first chapter of the brand new set. It's just gonna play similar games like Magic the Gathering, um, I'd probably say the closest one. I wouldn't say necessarily as much like uh Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon, but like in the same idea. So again, like it's a collectible card game. You buy the cards, and you make up your decks. You can rearrange them, do all that. But you do have starter decks you can pick up if you want to play straight out of the box. This has some really neat thematic elements to it. Um, Lots of iconic characters, different versions of iconic characters, which is really cool. So this first video, this is gonna be a multi-series set. We're gonna go over kind of a brief how to play the game. It's again not a walkthrough tutorial. If you really want to know, you can hop on. They have a companion app you can download, or you can go to their website and watch actual how to play videos. I just want to go over the briefest idea of how to play the game so you know what's on the cards and understand it. Um, and if you're checking out one of my other videos and have linked you back to this, welcome. And then we'll go over the three starter decks, and then we'll go over in some of the other videos. We will go over some of the other cards or other sets and stuff I got for the game and booster packs and stuff. So, what is in a starter deck? Um, First off, look on the side here. There are three different starter decks you can see. They don't generally have like a name to them, but they are separated by different colors. Um, so we have six different colors in the game. We have emerald, ruby, sapphire, steel, um, amber, and amethyst. So every deck is gonna have a full deck of cards, including two foils. If we flip to the side here, it might be kind of hard to read, but it actually gives you the full deck list in there, so you know exactly what you're getting when you buy one of these boxes. So it's not a surprise. Each box with a different picture has a specific set of cards. So you're gonna have to like guess and hope to get different things. If we look a little bit closer on the back of one of these, here they'll actually give you a little bit better description of what the deck does. We're also going to tell you it contains one starter deck of 60 cards, including two foil cards. It could be like the cards pictured. 11 damage counters for playing the game, one paper playmat, one paper tracker token, the game rules, plus you get a full booster pack. I love when starter decks do this. Because it adds in the fact of, hey, I've bought a deck, I played it, oh, this is really fun. And now you already have a pack of cards. Now, granted, this only has the two colors in it. This one, for example, is amber and amethyst, so yellow and purple. But yeah, you might end up only getting two cards out of the pack that might work for this, and it might not even theme very well. You don't know, but it gives you the option of at least seeing what else is out there right away. Um, so yeah, we're gonna go ahead and before we kind of look over what the deck does and all that stuff. I already opened this up a little bit, but I haven't went through all of it. But we're gonna take a look at the rules and the game components. You open it up. There's gonna be the deck of cards, the booster pack, and then we will have our tokens. So here on the outside, we have a token for a bunch of damage counters. So it's showing you have either -1 health, -3 health. This is gonna keep track of some stuff. And then the double sided, it's a neat way to add tokens into the game. We will have a big map here, paper map, they said. Um, oh, it's a one-sided here. Okay, so it's this is just a quick thing to keep track of how your cards go. So you have your deck of cards, your discard pile, like most trading card games. I'm going to assume you understand at least the basis of trading card games. We have cards that are in play, so as I play games, or my cards, I'll put them this direction, and then my inkwell is what I use to pay for the cards. And I'll put them over here, and then you have lore, which is actually what you have to do to you play to try and win the game. And that's just double sided. So I guess if you want to play the reverse direction, maybe you prefer having your deck on this side. So it's actually pretty cool. Alright, so what are the rules? I'm not going to get super in depth on this. Um, but what kind of game is this? Disney Lorcana is a strategy game where each player makes their own deck before the game starts. Decks aren't mixed together. You play with one available ready to play decks, make changes. You know, in a game like this, cards can allow you to do things that aren't normally part of every turn. The cards text ever contracts the game, follow the rules. So how to play the game? Basically, about the game. You're at race to locate pieces of lore scattered across Lorcana and collect them for safekeeping. Summon glimmers of Disney characters and items along the way to help with quests, and hinder your opponents and challenge your opposing characters. So you're learning to play, and then winning. Your goal is to be the first player to gain 20 or more lore. So instead of being a game where you're like Magic the Gathering, where you're damaging your opponent down to 0 life, or Yu-Gi-Oh, or even like Pokemon, where it's like I have to win X number of battles. You're trying to collect the lore. That's your main thing. You're trying to find the lore, and this game has a lot of like story and lore theme elements to it. So there are four basic types of cards. There are character cards, such as Cruella de Vil. Character cards are easy to tell. First of all, big thing right here, they have an attack and defense stats. Um, and they have a cost up in the top corner, and then they'll have some abilities and some other subtext. And then they'll have a little line right here. Most of them will have a line that shows how much lore they can gain. You have item cards come into play, which can be used, here and there. Um, then you have action cards, which are you play them, they go away one-time use. And then finally, we have songs. Songs are a special type of action. That can be played like any other action, or you can have one of your characters specifically sing the song, and play it for cheaper. Just kind of an alternate way to pay for the card. So, what is actually on the cards? So, here's a breakdown of this Mickey Mouse Wayward Sorcerer card. So, up in the top corner, you have the cost of the card, which is 4. It's how many points of ink you have to spend, which is your currency essentially, um, to play for the card. If it has the border around it, it's called the inkwell. This is the card you can use as ink. Now, not all cards have this. So it's kind of, you have to bounce your deck between some cards are usable to like just play, other cards can or can't be used to like help pay for other cards. Um, they have the name of the character, so Mickey Mouse. Then right below it is a special version. So this is the Mickey Mouse Wayward Sorcerer, but there are other Mickey Mouse cards. Um, the little symbol here is going to show what color it is, the ink. This is, again, purple or amethyst, which you also know is like the band on the card is purple. They have classifications, sometimes referred to card rows such as broom in this example. So this is a Dreamborn and Sorcerer. Every character will be one of 3 types. It'll be either a Dreamborn, a Storyborn, or a Floodborn. Storyborns are typically your regular characters you'd see from the movies or cartoons or TV shows or whatever they're from. Dreamborns tend to be kind of like a exaggerated version, or maybe kind of like how they wish they were, like they wish they had an aspect they were better at. So here's a Dreamborn Mickey who wishes he was more of a sorcerer. Um, and then the Floodborn are kind of like alternate reality versions. I don't know if there's ever a full official description of that, but that's kind of what's been gathered. And then down below, of course, we have effects and abilities, which will be done, and they'll have different things. And then if we jump to this side, so there's our keys. We have strength and willpower. Strength and willpower, so basically if you're challenging another player, so if Mickey is trying to defeat another character, such as, let's say, Cruella, which we saw up top, they will do their attack and defense to each other. Um, and then lore values, how much you gain when you quest. So that's the ultimate thing, is you're trying to get this lore. So you have options on what to do with a character during your turn after you have them play. You can either use them to attack other characters to get rid of them so they can't use their abilities. You can quest with them to get lore, which is what you need to win the game, or you can use their special abilities. So you have some different options. There's a set, just draw 7 cards. Pretty simple. There is our rarity. That's a very important thing. Common, uncommon, rare, super rare, and then legendary. So basically, um, yeah, so we'll kind of see what we get when we go through those. Alright, so I'm not going to get too much into all the exact gameplay. We just kind of want to focus on what the core concept of what we do. So during your turn, you ready your cards. Anything that was exerted or you used last turn, you turn them upright to be used again. Set, check to see if there's any effects happening, draw your cards. During your main phase, you may do the following in any order. Play a card, use a character ability that doesn't require them to exert, use an item, taking action of the character that's been in place since the start of your turn. These include quests, challenging opponent's exerted character, or using ability that requires them to exert. Exerting is just turning your card to the side. That's Magic, it's known as tapping. Other games, it's called exhausting. That's just to show that you've used that card. That character is essentially like too tired to be played a second time or use something. Um, yeah, so that's kind of basically how that works. And you play cards. So now to get cards to play them, you find one that has an inkwell symbol and you put them in your inkwell, and then you can tap them to use it. So if you have one card and you turn it sideways, you exert it, it gives you 1 point to spend on any card or ability. So you have to balance your deck. If you put it in your inkwell pile, you don't get to use it anymore. So maybe early on you might put some of your more expensive cards in there. Later on you might put some of your cheaper cards. But you gotta balance on what you have, because as soon as you put it in there, you no longer have access to it without special effects. Um, that's pretty interesting. So then the other two big components of the game are questing and challenging. So question find your characters, exert them, gain lore equal to their lore value. Remember, you can't question the character the same turn you played them. And then challenging is how you questing is how you win the game, but sometimes you just slow your opponent down. This is where challenge comes in. First, exert one of your characters, then go challenge. Choose an opponent's exerted character. Now, this is the key there. You can only challenge another opponent's exerted character. So, if they exert using ability or a quest, you can now try and defeat them and get them off the board. Um, but if they haven't done anything, that card's just sitting there using some other effect, you can't do anything to them. So it's an interesting balance of, because as soon as you do your, as soon as you challenge, that means on the next turn your opponent can now challenge that character. So it can be kind of a back and forth. And then damage is also a neat idea because damage stays on the characters. So here it's showing Captain Hook fighting Donald Duck. So Captain Hook is going to do 3 damage to Donald. Donald will do 2 damage back to Captain Hook. But since Captain Hook has 4 defense, he stays in the game. But he still has 2 counters. So now he only needs to take 2 more damage to reach that 4. Whereas Donald hit 3, so now he is banished or put in the discard pile. So since damage is persistent, this can add up turn after turn after turn. So like I just said before, is that if I challenge with Captain Hook during my turn, now he's down to 2, he's exerted. During my opponent's turn, now they can go ahead and challenge him, knowing that now they only need to be able to do 2 more damage to defeat him. So yeah, you might be back and forth winning and losing very quickly with some of these characters. But that's actually really cool versus like Magic the Gathering, where if you're familiar with that, is when you attack someone, either you defeat them or you don't. And that's the same with like Magic and some of that. But so it's more like Pokemon where you put counters on characters. Um, yeah, so that's very interesting how that all works. One other thing to point out here is if you're building a deck, each Lorcana deck must follow these rules. Must have at least 60 cards. Your deck can't contain more than 4 copies of a single character or any single card. You can't have more than copies of Elsa Snow Queen in your deck, but different versions of a character count as different cards. So having 4 copies of Elsa Snow Queen in your deck doesn't keep you from adding 4 copies of Elsa Queen Reginald. So that's really cool because it's like that way they can have a lot of different Elsas or Mickeys, or Donalds or whoever, and you can still have them. Says your deck can only contain cards from 1 or 2 inks. So this is the other restriction though, is you can only have cards that contain 2 colors. So all these base decks are 2 colors, and you can only include what from them too. So you can't make a 6-color deck or have just have the best cards from every color. So that does kind of limit it, makes it kind of interesting. Alright, so I think we're going to end. This is just a quick how to play like part 1 video. Then we check back in. We'll part two here. We'll go ahead and check out what the actual decks do. All right, see you guys then. Bye.